When we think about changing the world, our minds usually go to powerful people, right? Influential leaders, great thinkers. But today, we're going to explore a story that turns that whole idea on its head. It's the story of a 4-year-old who actually changed the church. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Can the faith of just one child truly change the world? It sounds almost impossible, but the story we're about to share suggests the answer is a powerful, resounding yes. And it all started with her. We're going to meet little Nellie, a young girl from Ireland. Her love for what she called holy God was so pure and so profound that it did just that. It changed everything. So let's get into it. The story of little Nellie. Her life was very short, but it was filled with just an extraordinary, breathtaking faith. Nellie was born in Cork, Ireland, back in 1903. And even as a tiny child, people noticed she had this remarkable spiritual awareness. By the time she was about 4, she was being cared for by the Good Shepherd sisters, and her devotion was just so obvious. So much so that something truly exceptional happened. At just 4.5 years old, she was given special permission for her first Holy Communion. That was unheard of, an age when most kids were years away from it. And here's what's so beautiful. She didn't have complex theological words. For Nellie, the Eucharist wasn't some abstract concept. It was simply, and so lovingly, Holy God. It was that pure, innocent understanding that just captured the hearts of everyone around her. And this wasn't some quiet internal faith. No, it was radiant. It just shone from her. And it left this deep, lasting impression on absolutely everyone. From the sisters taking care of her to the local priests, they saw in this little girl a faith that was just astonishingly real and powerful. So you might be wondering, how does the faith of one small child in Ireland lead to a huge change for the entire Catholic Church? Well, incredibly, her story traveled all the way to the Vatican and inspired a pope. You know how stories travel. Word of this amazing child and others like her started to spread, and it went all the way to Rome, right to Pope Pius X. At the time, there was a lot of discussion about whether young children could truly understand the Eucharist, and stories like Nellie's were powerful, real-life proof that, yes, they absolutely could. So all this awareness, it didn't just stay as talk. It led to real official action. In 1910, Pope Pius X issued a papal decree called Quam Singulari. And this was the document that made it official, the very change that Nellie's life had so beautifully pointed toward. And this really shows you just how big of a deal this was. Before this decree, the common practice was to wait until a child was about 12 years old. But after Quam Singulari, the age was lowered all the way down to what the Church calls the age of reason, which is usually around 7. And the key phrase is right there in the decree itself. It says the right time is when a child begins to reason. The focus shifted away from needing to know complex doctrine and moved toward having a simple, reverent understanding. It basically validated the exact kind of pure, heartfelt faith that little Nellie had. Now, Nellie's story isn't just a piece of history from over 100 years ago. Her legacy is very much alive. So let's turn to what her extraordinary faith can mean for us in our own lives today. Her influence is still so tangible. Her grave in Cork has become a place of pilgrimage where people go to pray. A memorial was dedicated to her in 1984. And most importantly, her story just keeps getting told, inspiring people all around the globe. When you really think about it, her life is just this beautiful testament to the idea that children have a deep spiritual capacity, and that there's an incredible power and beauty in a faith that's simple, honest, and comes straight from the heart. So with that in our hearts, let's just take a brief, quiet moment to reflect, to think about how we can find a little bit of that Nellie spirit within ourselves. Let's start with that simple, powerful name she used. How do you and I approach Holy God in our own lives? Is there that same sense of awe, that personal love? And now, let's think about the nature of our faith itself. Do I carry that simple, childlike trust, that uncomplicated longing that she had so perfectly? And finally, what's one lesson you can take with you from the simple yet world-changing faith of this little girl from Ireland? As we bring our time together to a close, here's one final thought to carry with you. Think of it as an invitation to grow from what we've shared today. If there's one thing to take away from Nellie's story, it's this. The most profound changes, the ones that reshape the world, often begin with the smallest, most sincere acts of love. Just like the love of a 4-year-old girl for her holy God. For more uplifting reflections and faith-based insights, we invite you to visit holyhighlights.com and subscribe.